Hi, Dennis Weiss. Welcome to our town. We're at one of the anchor institutions in Abilene today, St. Andrew's Church. You're celebrating 100 years. We have Lou Elliott here to talk about what's going on September 16 and 17. That's the
correct.
dates? Okay.
That's correct.
So right here it says St. Andrew's Church, a Centennial of Faith. Celebration for you folks.
That's right. Our Jubilee, our 100th Jubilee of the consecration of the church on 1917, the cornerstone, on 1916, the cornerstone was laid and then it was consecrated on 1917. And so that's what we're celebrating on Saturday, September the 16th. We are going to have an open house where the public is invited to come and see our church on the inside from 1 to 3, Saturday, September the 16th. On Sunday then, we are going to have a Mass celebrating the consecration and the Jubilee with many of the parish priests that have been here and surrounding areas. They're going to be with us approximately.
Very cool. So homecoming for some people?
Yes, it is. And for other people who have come to this parish and are welcome back to come and see and just be a part of that special celebration. Mass is going to start at 4:30 that afternoon, September the 17th. Like I said, with many of the priests from the area, the bishop is going to be here celebrating the Mass also with them. Afterwards, we are going to have a dinner because also in the year of 1917, when they consecrated the church, they had a dinner that followed afterwards over at the Lincoln School that used to be just to the east of the church and everything. So we again are going to duplicate that and have a church. Dinner is going to be RSVP only. They're all welcome to come to church for Mass and everything, but RSVP as far as the dinner, we are going to have salad, baked chicken, breast, roast beef with barbecue sauce, scalloped potatoes, green beans, roll and butter, and a Jubilee cake. Everybody gets an individual cupcake.
You're making me hungry. I didn't eat a good breakfast this morning.
Oh, always got to start with a good breakfast. But what else can I? Decorations are going to be in gold and black. We thought with 100 years tends to be gold, so we went with gold and black for our decorations. This hallway that we're sitting in right now is going to have many more chairs and tables.
I'm sure it will.
Because we have, at this time, approximately 300 plus that have RSVP to say that they would be here with us.
Oh,
so.
Wow, that's quite a crowd.
So we're looking forward to it. So.
A couple of things struck me while you're going through the details of the church itself. 1916, 1917, that's World War I.
Okay.
Gosh, this church has been in Abilene since World War I.
Yes.
That's a long time,
and
but it's also significant period of history. And churches are a place of comfort for those who attend. And we were in what was called the Great War.
Yeah.
The worst war is another way of saying Great War, right? The worst war. So this church has been serving people of Abilene since the worst war.
Well, and I was thinking of it this morning as I was coming here and everything, and I was thinking about it because Mass is in the church 7 days a week. There's Mass. I was thinking of the many, many people who have come to Mass or been, you know, at services, and I'm trying to think, oh my, what a history, what all the lives that it has touched and everything. And the building's over 100 years old and still looks great. I mean, we just did a little refurbishing again and everything, but like you have said, that it's withstood all of these years and everything. So.
Two things. When we were working to schedule this interview for you folks,
yes,
I said, can we shoot in the sanctuary? And the first answer was yes, and then, oh, we can't because there's something going on in there at this time today.
Right.
So we're on a Thursday. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's when I needed to do this interview, 9 o'clock this morning. And there is serving the people of Abilene going on in the church.
Thank you. Yes.
So
we have adoration on Thursdays, every Thursday, from 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening, where individuals can come in and have an hour with the Lord or just a few minutes, or they're welcome to come anytime. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That continuity of service
Yes.
is
Yes.
very cool. It's great to have solid churches in your community and not just the walls, right?
Right, right. We have many organizations within. We have the Knights of Columbus, which are also going to be a part of the Mass. They're going to do their, wear their outfits, or how shall I say, and be a part of the service. The Daughters of Isabella will also be a part of the service, which is another organization within our church. The Ladies of St. Andrews are a very big part of it also. Janet Cross has been in charge of organizing and having this going. There's so many people that you hate to almost mention names because you're going to forget somebody, and you don't want to offend anybody.
So I have a question for you. Are you folks cooking the food, or is it having
it is going to be catered? It is going to be catered for us from West IGA.
Okay.
And so, yes.
So my favorite part of what St. Andrews does in our communities across the street.
The school.
Oh, I love those kids. We get to come in and do Catholic Schools Week, a little video with them, and I so look forward. I had to miss one like last year, year before. I was double booked, so I missed the interview with the little kids. Oh, I just was very sad about that. They are my favorite thing to do with the camera turned on. Yeah.
Cool. Yes, and they're not afraid of being in front of the camera and that sort of thing.
Well, a couple of them were, but they make it through. The little kindergartners are always fun. So I always envied Art Linklater, his job with those little kids way back when. So it's a lot of fun. I now know how much fun it is when you have a camera in a group full of kids.
Yes.
So how long have you been coming to St. Andrews, Louisville?
I have been part of this parish since 1973.
73.
Yes.
A while.
So approximately 45 years or thereabouts, yes.
You've lived in the community.
I'm originally from Nebraska, and when my husband and I got married, he is originally from here.
Okay.
And so I became a part of this parish, and we've been here ever since. All our kids were baptized here, confirmed here.
Yeah.
Some of them were married here, so. Yes, we have a church history too of this place.
That's the question answer I think I was headed for is, not only is the history of the church on September 16th and 17th being celebrated, but there are a lot of families who've been here either all their life or most of their life that are celebrating their participation with St. Andrews, the building.
Yes.
That's over a long time.
Yes.
There are families that we know who have literally, they don't remember a time in their life that St. Andrews wasn't part of it.
Right, right. So, and they're welcome back anytime. I mean, you can come anytime. You really can. So we'd love to have you.
You never know when people are clicking turn channel 2 on. So they could have just turned and they're now seeing us on TV. And so we want to tell them again, this is an event, September 16 and 17.
Yes.
You're celebrating 100 years of the consecration of St. Andrew's Church. And you have 2 days worth of events. So tell them what those events are again.
Okay, on September the 16th from 1 to 3, we are going to have an open house of the church. It's open to the public. You're welcome to come and see our church, our beautiful stained glass windows. We'll give you a little more history of the church and let you see it from the inside. And then on September the 17th, we are going to start with Mass at 4:30 with the bishop and several priests being here to celebrate and concelebrate the Mass. After Mass, we are going to have an RSVP-only dinner reception at the parish hall that is right next door to the church, and would just like to invite people to come and see what we have to offer and the church that's been here for over 100 years.
Looks like a fantastic menu. I'm looking at it over your shoulder again. So
we're going to have salad, baked chicken breast, roast beef with barbecue sauce, scalloped potatoes, green beans, and rolls and butter. And then there will be a large cake with small cupcakes for individuals to have afterwards.
So how do they RSVP to?
There was invitations already sent out, so those should have been sent back already. Our deadline has been met and everything as far as RSVPs coming back, so that the people who are catering can get their business and get their things ready and everything. So somebody feels like they would like to get in yet, they might call the church office at 263-1570. And if there's been a cancellation, they will be on a waiting list, and if there's been a cancellation, we may be able to get them still in.
All the events at St. Andrews are well attended when you ask the community to come celebrate or participate with you. It's always a full house in the parking lot. So
Yes.
I'm expecting that will go well for you on September 16th and 17th.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
much. Well, thanks for
much.
sitting with us. We're going to bring another guest on and talk a little bit about the history of the church to finish off the program. But thanks for giving us a lowdown on what's going to happen, when and where and how.
Thank you for having us.
All right, folks, we'll be right back. Hi, Dennis Weiss, back with a new guest, Marcella Steinhauser, and we are elected, not you, we are elected to talk about church history. So,
Thank you. Thank
you know, 100 years, where do you start? Neither one of us weren't here 100 years ago.
That's right.
But you've been in our community a long time.
I've been here for 56 years.
Ran a business downtown, and you're
That's
still
right.
shutting that down today. So
I'm
you
trying.
have been there on 3rd Street a long time.
A long time.
An
yes.
anchor part of our community on the business side.
That's right.
And we're sitting in probably the longest anchor as a religious institution in Abilene today.
I would think so. We are in the process of celebrating our Centennial, which is very important to our parish community. But our Catholic Church began in Abilene in its infancy when Abilene was just a mere wide spot in the road. This was prior to 1874, and the members of this church had no house to worship. So the nearest place to worship was Solomon. And so it is said that the first Mass was said in Margaret Callahan's cabin west of the cemetery on Mud Creek in 1859. And with the opening of the Kansas Railroad, the Pacific Railroad in the fall of 1866, a lot of new families came to Abilene, which created enough of a group to have our first Catholic church. And it was built in 1874 from the Augustine and Leibel families, and the lots were purchased for $1. Father Scholes was the first pastor that in charge of erecting this small brick church, and the cornerstone was laid in 1874.
1874, wow.
And it is our parish, and it is thought to, at this date, that the name of St. Andrew's Church was given on the feast of St. Andrew. The church was completed in 1875, and the first Mass, Father Scholes continued to attend the parish until 1877, when Father Carlos succeeded him. Pastors followed short term because of the smallness of the parish. And in 1880, Father O'Leary was actually the first resident pastor at St. Andrews, and Father O'Leary is credited with opening the first parochial school. And the first school was held in the parish rectory, and after that, the school was held in small frame homes in the parish. Father Bocini was instrumental in purchasing the 1,500-pound bell for St. Andrews, and it's the first bell in Abilene. And it is having it installed on July the 29th, 1894. And this is the same bell that hangs in the rectory in the steeple of the church today. And in 1910, Father O'Leary, Father O'Reilly, was the second resident priest, and it was under his direction that the first parish church was raised and the present St. Andrew's Church was constructed. The cornerstone was laid in 1916, and the building was finished the following spring St. Andrew's Church is a Romanesque in design and is constructed of dark red brick with white limestone trim. At that time, the church cost $60,000, and today it has a capacity of between 500 to 600 people. And it is a tribute to the parishioners that the parish was paid for and the church was paid for when it was completed. The windows manufactured in Munich, Germany are all stained glass, and each depicts a mystery of the Rosary, and they were donated by various parish families. In 1962, Father Monsignor Roach was the parish pastor, and under his instructions and direction, the men of the parish hand dug the basement under the church, and it served the purpose of a social room.
You have to have a little faith to dig a basement by hand under a church of stone.
I remember Ray Whitehair, who was a fantastic member of our parish, was telling how that was hand dug, and it was dug by mule force and hand dug and drug actually out from underneath the structure.
And
that
I even know how,
today.
I haven't heard the story, but I know how that's done because my grandfather did the same kind of work. It's called a slip. I mean, you put the sleep down in there and you run lines out to the mules, and the mules are outside, right?
Actually, yes.
Then you just put your weight on it and you get it started in the dirt and it goes up a ramp out the hole.
Can you imagine that being done today?
No, but we could if we had to, couldn't we?
We could.
Well, anybody could if they really wanted to.
Yeah,
True. I think about St. Andrews, you're here.
Yes.
To talk about this, and you got the phone call and you didn't know what we're going to do, and here you are. So that's the spirit that you're celebrating on September the 16th and the 17th. Is you want something good to happen here, and there's 100 years of people, Marcella, who've done that to let us sit here in front of a modern camera putting this on TV to talk about it.
And when we came in 1962, Monsignor Roach was our parish pastor, and he had come to Abilene from New York State, and he was very crafty in doing woodwork. And so it was under his direction and his design that the present interior of the church exists like it does today. It has the Roman columns, and those were all handmade, because I remember the woodwork and the wood instruments out here between the church and the parish house at that time.
Okay.
And he was doing all of that art carving and all that kind of thing out here.
So he did a lot of that himself?
He did, I would say 90% of it himself. The wood is solid walnut, and it is, it was an imported walnut lumber, and where he got it, I don't know. But he was quite an interesting person in that I know at that time my husband was on the parish council. And it was really interesting, and this kind of sticks in my mind because it was Bernard's responsibility after the parish collection on Sunday to deposit the money in the bank. Well, Bernard deposited the money in the bank okay, but he deposited it under Steinhauser's, and so we had to make a correction, but it was kind of a laughy thing, and kind of something we remembered over time.
Sure. You know, isn't that really something to look forward to on the 16th and 17th, is people coming together, telling their memories of this institution in the church? That's the most fun of any kind of reunion celebration.
It really
for
is.
Me.
Oh, sharing is something that we don't do enough of today. It's too bad.
Yeah.
But there were other parish priests that succeeded him. He was instrumental, as I say, in doing the churches as it exists today, and the carving that is present under the altar is "Behold the Lamb of God," which is awesome. It's done in Latin. It's Ecce Agnus Dei, but it's still translated means "Behold the Lamb of God."
Who takes away the sins of the world.
That's correct. Absolutely. You know the rest. After Monsignor Brown, we had a fantastic pastor, and his name was Monsignor Wassinger, and he at that time was head of Catholic Charities in Salina. A very awesome person, and I'm going to relate this to you because I think since it involved me. At that time of his being in Abilene, we had the ritual of Sunday morning was to gather in the sacristy and then process around the church and come into the front of the church down the aisle before Mass was said. And one morning, and it was in the early 1980s, there was we were waiting in the sacristy for the altar boy, and he didn't come. And so Monsignor was looking at his watch. We were really bumping 10 o'clock, and he was bothered. And pretty soon this little boy came, and I said to Monsignor, is it okay if we just go to the front of the church? And he said, no, let's just wait till he garbs and we'll all go together. We went to the front of the church, and getting ready to go down the aisle, there was a little man that was standing off to the side, which was, he was not Hispanic, but he was dark-skinned. He was more Indian type of color. But he was standing there, and he had a folder, and it was in a kind of a manila envelope, and he proceeded to hand this to Monsignor Wassinger, and Monsignor pushed him aside and, you know, did this and ushered or made mention of the choir to start. And so we processed up the aisle, and in those days, the lector that I was that morning sat in the sacristy, in the sanctuary. And so, Monsignor, we did the first reading, the second reading, and Monsignor was getting ready to do the sermon, and up from the back of the church comes this little man and hands him this packet, and he had to take it. So anyway, after Mass was over, Monsignor said, you know, I really should have thanked him for taking it back to the back of the church. He really felt bad. But inside the packet was a picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe. It hangs to the side of the Blessed Mother's altar in the parish, in the sanctuary. And so Monsignor told me later, he said, I checked all the Hispanic people in town. Was this a relative? Was this someone that was visiting, whatever? And it was thought that maybe somebody thought maybe he had ridden or come into Abilene in a boxcar, but he was dressed too nice for that. As I remember, he had a kind of a loose tweedy coat on, but he was very well dressed. I mean, not like formal dressed, but clean and neat and all. Years later, I mentioned to Father Randy Weber, who was a parish pastor here, and he said, are you sure that wasn't Juan Diego? And you know, I don't know how the picture got here. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it came from, but it hangs to the side of the Blessed Mother's altar in the sanctuary.
Wow, terrific story.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure we used up our time,
Okay.
and it was fun. It's exciting to think of a 100-year celebration, September 16th, 17th here at St. Andrews.
I think all of St. Andrews Parish is excited.
You need to come walk in the building. You need to see the inside of the church. It's been described to you today. If you've never been here, you should come and go walk through. You'll be glad you did. All right, Marcella, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Dennis Weiss. I work for Eagle Communications. We wish you a great day.